Howdy, howdy, Chris here. Last week we replaced and repainted this front bumper cover. Today we're going to repair the scratch on this fender. We're going to blend the fender and clear it. I'm going to show you exactly how we do it and what you need to know to do this at home. The damage on this fender is pretty minor. You may have some more severe damage like a larger dent or a deeper scratch, and if that's the case, check out the video link I'll leave at the end. That'll teach you how to repair that damage. Painting this fender is going to cover up the scratch and repair it, but we're also going to get a blend from the bumper to the fender, and we need that blend so we don't have a panel paint situation where we're just painting one panel and the new color is butting up against the old. If you don't do the blend, then most of the time that color is not going to match the adjacent panel. There are variances in each color. One might be a shade lighter, one might be a shade darker. There might be 15 different variances of one color. So I sanded out that scratch with a little bit of 320, and then I went over the whole fender with 600 grit sandpaper. This is going to prepare this fender for the blend and the clear coat. Now you can use 800 or 1000. One thing to be careful of, make sure you don't burn through the clear coat. So we want to just scuff the surface so that new paint adheres and the clear adheres properly. So we basically want to knock the shine off that panel. Now I'm going to go ahead and tape up the edges. Now all the edges of this fender we're going to do by hand. We're going to use a 600 grit foam pad or a gray scuff pad that's equivalent to like a 1500 grit scratch, and we'll sand all those edges by hand. Typically I like to go ahead and tape up the perimeter of the panel first, and I do that before I do my final sanding around those edges, because that tape will protect those panels from getting scratches from the sanding. Now here I'm going to use some foam tape along this hood jamb, and this has a sticky side to it so it sticks in that jamb, and then I can shut the hood on it. That'll eliminate overspray and air from getting in that jamb. One thing I want to mention, if you're doing this repair at home, you want to go ahead and clean that panel with some water-based cleaner or a prep solvent. This will eliminate any dirt or grime or oils that are on that panel before you start sanding. You don't want to sand those into that panel. You also want to use some compressed air and blow out all the jams, all the cracks and crevices where dirt might hide. You don't want like trash blowing out of those cracks while you're painting your vehicle. As you can see, I covered the vehicle with plastic, and then I carefully went around and trimmed out the area that we're painting. And then we went around with tape and taped down that plastic so no overspray gets underneath it and onto the vehicle. Now it's time for paint. The paint we're using today is the Nason XL. I purchased this at my local O'Reilly's. It was pre-mixed. I did have to reduce it. It reduces 2 to 1. That's 2 parts paint, 1 part reducer. I am using the 3M Performance gun. I think this is a great gun for a DIY or someone doing something at home. It's very versatile. You can use it for primers, sealers, paint, clear. It's a good option if you're looking for a paint gun. There's really not too much involved in painting this fender because we didn't have to cover up any primer. All we had to do was get a good base on the first 2 inches of that fender where it meets up with the bumper. And then after that's covered real well, we'll probably put 2 coats on that. We'll blend out into that fender a little bit so we have a gradual transition from one color to the next. I hope you're finding this video helpful, and if you are, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to help support this kind of content, all you have to do is click that like button, leave a comment or question down below. Now it's time for some clear coat, and the clear coat we're using today is the Nason 498 and medium activator. This is a 4-to-1 clear coat, mixes up 4 parts clear, 1 part activator, sprays out beautifully, has a really high gloss and nice finish. It's a good middle of the road clear as far as durability and cost, and it does cut and buff really well. Now if you want the perfect clear, if you're doing a repair at home, check out the video link I'll leave at the end. It's a 30-minute clear coat that dries completely in 30 minutes. Now I am using the 3M Performance gun to lay down my clear. I'm using the 1.2 tip. I find that gives me a really good finish. I am going to be testing out the 1.3 on clear coat and see how that does. I also am using the 3M PPS system, the cup system. This just makes it for an easy cleanup. So we've mixed up our clear, and then we'll go ahead and lay our first coat on. I'm going to start at the bottom here. And one thing you want to remember when you're spraying your clear coat, you want to have a consistent distance from the panel. Usually that's 4 to 5 inches away. You want to overlap 70% on your passes. and you want to spray off the panel. So I'm spraying right onto that door. I'm not stopping on any edges or any door gaps or hood gaps. We're going to continue on off the panel. Now I've got this gun set up with the fan pattern wide open. As far as my volume, I have it 2.5 to 3 turns out. My air pressure on this particular gun is about 24 psi when I'm clearing. Now conventional guns, you run a good air pressure to start with is around 28, and then you can adjust from there. If you want to get a professional glass-like finish, you need to focus on your technique and your gun setup. And that's all it is, and practice. And you'll get a nice, consistent glass-like finish every time. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, so let's take a look at the finished product. And as you can see, it has a nice flat finish, nice gloss, nice shine. There is a little bit of dust in it from here and there, but if you're doing this repair at home or in an open garage, you're going to get some dust. You might get a couple little particles of dust or something of that nature. Don't be concerned about it. You can take it out real easy, and I've got a video that's going to show you how to do that right here. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. We'll see you next time on Garage Noise.